Alright guys, welcome back to another Pokemon TCG Pocket video on my channel. So Steelix, unfortunately we didn't get a EX version of this one as of yet, but nevertheless we have it. The only problem with this Pokemon really are the high energy costs, right? I mean 4 energies required for a 110 HP damage attack. I mean, it is 10 more damage than the recent Blissey EX is doing. And it also has 4 retreat costs, but it has a lot less HP than Blissey EX, for example. However, it's actually on par with other EX Pokemon currently, right? So if you compare this to other EX Pokemon, it's actually on the level of those, apart from the fact that it doesn't have any ability with its attack, right? Now, we're trying here a very different deck, right? We're running Skarmory X and normal Skarmory, and we're running Steelix. We do have the, I don't know what the item is called here in English. It's basically the new Pokemon attachment tool, and this one. This one basically lets us take the Pokemon back to our hand if it gets defeated, right? We're running 2 times Rocco and 2 times Jasmine here, just for the support for Onix, right? So let's actually try this deck out. Ranked mode. We are in Master Ball ranked mode, and we're gonna try and see how this deck performs against the current meta, right? So let's actually see this. The first opponent has been found, and we are starting second, which is good because this will allow us to place energy on our Pokemon first, which could give us the upper edge. Now, we're starting very, suboptimal here. 2 times Onix, which basically means we cannot push early if we would have had drawn a Skarmory, right? Or like the normal Skarmory. Regardless, we'll wait and see. The goal here is, if you're in a sticking position like this, right, you have both your high energy costs Pokemon in the on the field, you always want to really go for the back row one, right? You always want to go for the one that is sitting on a bench, because the active one may lose enough HP by the time you're ready with the evolution and or attacking or whatever. You may even have lost your Pokemon, right? So bearing that in mind, you always want to go for the back one, right? So we do have a good field setup now. We already have Steelix on our hand, which is good. We're probably running against the current meta deck, which is Sylveon EX and Crobat EX, right? Which is going to be a tough opponent because it is a very low energy requirement deck. However, it seems like the opponent didn't manage to draw what he wanted to draw. So this will give us some more time to actually chill out, right? Let me actually think. We do have 2 Skarmories on the field. We're going to evolve here, actually. We're going to bring our Steelix onto the field. But maybe we're going to do it next turn, not this turn. We are going to do it the next turn. Because if we do draw Rocco, Brock, I mean, is the English name, right? If we do draw Brock, the next turn, we can use it on our Onix, which is sitting on a bench, right? This will basically allow us then to have 1 energy even earlier ready, so that we can use the energy of the next turn to supply our Skarmory. Now, it does seem like the opponent is AFK here. Yeah, I do think so. I'm actually thinking, is he also playing Umbreon EX or only Sylveon EX, right? That is also something to take into consideration. Umbreon EX could be very troublesome here. If he, for example, attacks our Onix in round 1 and then utilizes, for example, a Sabrina, then he can later on bring our Onix, which has been attacked in the active position, back to the active position, right? From the bench back, which can be very difficult to deal with, depending on what point or what stage of the duel we are in. All right, so that answers the question. He is running Umbreon EX, right? He is able to attack this turn, but it did seem like he was, for a short time, AFK. I don't know. So this is exactly why we didn't evolve. This is exactly the reason why. This is just perfect. So now Now we can actually go ahead and evolve Steelix, bring Steelix onto the field, and then our turn. So now we do have our Pokemon ready. The next turn we can supply our Skarmory. The opponent's coming out with Crobat EX. Now Crobat EX only requiring 1 energy to attack is very strong. Nevertheless, we're actually good to go here. So the opponent's most likely, yes, as expected, he's going to attack with his active position Pokemon, doing 80 damage, which is good because Onix is not going to die. I was just going to say, Steelix would have been nice here, right? But it doesn't really matter. We're going to give Skarmory EX the energy, and then we're going to go for the Rocky Helmet on the normal Skarmory. Why? I'm trying to see if the opponent may be running a, what's it called? A Guzma, right? He may use Guzma to get rid of our card. All right, he's running Sylveon EX, obviously. I wouldn't have expected anything else, right? So Sylveon EX is on the field. Drawing 2 cards, another Pokeball here, so another item card, drawing another basic Pokemon, which he cannot play anyways. Most likely, he's running Darkrai as well. I'm not too sure, but I'm just assuming, right? So, okay, the second Crobat EX is on the field. So the opponent is sitting very strongly on the field right now. Very, very strong. I mean, if we are going to win this one, then that duel in itself is probably enough for this entire video, because that in itself is a feat. So let's see. Second Steelix has been found. Unfortunately, very late. We're not going to need it anymore, which is kind of bad. We're going to give ourselves the Pokemon attachment tool to prevent Steelix from suffering from poison, and then we're going to attack. 110 damage. There is nothing really the opponent can do to survive the next turn, unless he switches out, obviously. And he is going to switch out, and he's bringing forth his Crobat EX. Who would have thought, right? All right, Dark Emblem. This doesn't really affect us in any way of shape or form. Anyways, 60 damage. Jasmine would be very nice the next turn or two. Brock, okay. We're gonna go for Skarmory here. Another 110 damage attack. Doesn't really matter if we lose a card or not. This doesn't bother us. So none of his Pokemon can do enough damage to beat Steelix. So we're gonna be able to throw another 110 HP attack onto the opponent. The opponent's literally in a bad position. I mean, Steelix is kind of suffering from success right now in this duel, considering he has a high amount of HP, being able to withstand the current meta. I mean, quite literally the meta deck currently. This is quite a feat, actually. Now, I wasn't assuming or even thinking of that Steelix is going to perform this good, but yeah, either way. So the opponent the next turn is going to lose one of his boss Pokemons, right? So Steelix is down now, which doesn't really bother us, because now we can bring our Skarmory EX onto the field. There is no risk on our bench anyways too as well, so we're going to be able to defeat the Crobat EX here. We did draw the second Brock there, okay, sure. Gonna bring Skarmory also onto the field, another energy on top of it, and Crobat EX is going to die. Now, if he doesn't have Lily, he's going to lose the next turn. And he surrendered! Bro, GG! We did it! Very strong performance. Very, very strong performance. I think I'm going to conclude it with that one as well. So this was actually very, very well played. I mean, one exceptionally well played round that was, which I think says a lot of how good this deck actually performs. And this was Master Ball rank, right? All right, so let's conclude it here. Definitely very strong deck, and I think this time around I'm actually not going to play a few more rounds. I actually played a few off cam, and this deck actually performed extremely well. And I mean, this last duel actually shows exactly how good this combination actually works against the current meta in ranked mode in Master Ball rank, right? Now, obviously, it always depends heavily on the cards you draw, on your setup and everything. I would probably recommend switching out one of those Brocks, right, and dropping either Cyrus Sabrina in there, or even thinking about Pokemon Communication, right? Those are a few things, right? So that's something you may want to think about. But other than that, definitely very strong deck. Can highly recommend testing it out. And yeah, do let me know down below in the comment sections what you think about it. As always, thanks for tuning in. Take care of yourselves. Until next time.